Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is actually going to be a subscriber request. A subscriber has asked me to show my minimal brush collection. So it's always ask and you shall receive. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Okay, so these are all of my brushes. They are very old. I have had these brushes for, I guess, over 5 years now. It's been quite some time. You guys know that, as I've mentioned in my other videos, brushes is not something I get really excited about, so I never really struggled with a very large brush collection. I would probably say brushes was something I was really excited to buy when I was like much younger. I think like in my early 20s. I love to try out all like the different types of brushes, but I have been a minimalist for quite some time, so I always knew that I had to be disciplined and I really shouldn't collect a lot of brushes. So if you guys want to know what is in my brush collection, yeah, let's get right into it. So this collection here, all these white ones, these are, if you care about brand, I will show you by brand. So let's look at my white brushes. So these two that I have here is from the company Cosmos, and this is a Taiwanese brand. I had more of these, but as the years went by, I have decluttered a lot of the brushes. So I'll show you what I have. So this one is in the number 1, and this is a blush brush. Very pretty, love it. I really like how, and they're so soft. That's the other thing. I've always made sure to collect very soft and very wearable brushes, and the bristles are still really good. These are all fake vegan fur. I don't have any real ones, so yay. And the other one that I have is the number 5, and this is an eyeshadow packer brush. Yeah, the colorway is so pretty. It's like pink at the top and it's like white here. Kind of reminds me of the Essence ones that came out. I really wanted those, but at the time I was living in Asia, so I couldn't get a hold of them. But when I saw these, I was like, I had to have these. I had more of this series, but I have since decluttered them. So this is actually all that I still have left from this series. Okay, so the next series that I have is from Essence, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the Marble series, and I have a couple of them. I really did like this series a lot. This series is phenomenal. I have washed and used this religiously. I even have some of them where the labeling is completely gone. You can see that, guys. Like, let me see if I can show you guys on camera. There's like nothing left. It's just completely gone. You can see the glue there. The head has come off and I've just stuck it back on just because the brushes are so freaking good, guys. If you have access to the series, I highly recommend it. They have stood the test of time. I've had these brushes since, I guess, 5 years ago, as I've mentioned. So they are amazing, phenomenal. Some of them are older than some of the other ones because I slowly collected them over the course of 2 years. Some are very yellow and some of them are a little bit more white. Like this is the last one that I bought. It's still kind of white. And then my oldest one, I think you can see here, there's like a discoloration. It's kind of yellow and the labeling is kind of gone compared to the older one. So yeah, let me show you what I have. This one is my contour brush. So I just have that. I've had more angled and extreme contour brushes in the past, but I like something a little bit more subtle just because, as you guys can see, I have quite a hollow cheek. So I need the right angulation, but too severe muddies it and gets it everywhere. And if it's not angled enough, it can't even get in there and it doesn't look good. So this is the perfect angle for my face shape. Okay, the next one that I have is I actually have 2 eyeshadow brushes. Normally I wouldn't recommend having doubles, but because I do have 2 staples that I like to rotate through. So one of them is for my purple eyeshadow and the other one is for my, I guess, contouring smaller areas. So I contour my eye using this. I contour my nose, I contour my eye, and I contour in here. I contour in here and I contour in here. So I need something a little bit more fine. So that's what this brush is. They're just 2 regular eyeshadow brushes. And the next thing that I have is I have another packer brush, another eyeshadow brush. Usually I use this one for my egg style. So this has a very specific function. I don't really like dabbing these into like different eyeshadows. I also don't have enough eyeshadows to be able to do that. When I was project panning, this was more of an issue, but not anymore. I barely own any eyeshadows. So this is literally just for my egg style. It has like a very blunt and thick angulation, so it's really good for getting right in there. And the next ones that I have is I have a highlighter one. This one is super like wasted, but it is so good, guys. Like the angulation, it is like the right shape and it gets right in there. So pretty. I love this one. This one actually has a special name. This one is called the Hollow Lighter brush. This one is really good. I highly recommend it. I love highlighter, so I have owned several highlighter brushes, but when I decluttered some of my brushes several years back, the one that I decided was the one for me is this one, so I kept this one. And then I have a very tiny, very small angled brush, and I usually use this for when I want more of a smoky eye, but as I've mentioned, I barely have any eyeshadows left. I've hardly ever used it, so that's why it's still clean. Okay, the next brand that I have, this is my first eyeshadow that I've ever owned. It is extremely old. This bad boy is from before I even like had LASIK, so it is 11 or 12 years old. Don't ask me why I still have it. I'm very weird. Some stuff I think works well and still keeps going. This, I don't even remember what this was. This was from Target, and this is in the number 116 and something, and it's a blender brush for like blending out like the smokiness. It's amazing. It still works fine. Nothing has fallen apart. It's still going. So freaking good. All right, so now let's talk another series. So these are my black brushes. I know that there might be slight duplicates in here, but it doesn't really bother me. So let us look at the first brand. So this is from the company Nomi, and this is a Chinese brand, Nomi. It is like a Chinese Swedish minimalistic type of vibe, and this is what the brushes look like. They're not as good quality as some of my other ones. You can kind of see here like the, what do you call that? The paint has started to come off. But yeah, let's just kind of go in order for what the function of these are. I don't use them as often just because my other brushes do the trick, but sometimes, you know, when your brushes are so filthy but you don't have time to wash it and you kind of need an extra pair, that's what this set is. So this is an eyeshadow brush. It's a very thin eyeshadow brush when I need to get like right in there. That's what I use this one for. Next thing that I have is also a very thin angled brush. It's more for your eye, but I actually use it for like lipstick just because of the brush angle being like really good. So that's what that is. Then I have a thin packer brush, which is like using for like concealer. I used to use a lot of concealer. I used to use the Maybelline concealer that was like super popular. What was it, like the erase tape or something like that? I think I went through 3 bottles, but in my makeup minimalism journey, I stopped using concealer, so this brush really serves no function anymore. If anything, I use it for my lips, just when the other one's dirty and I need another brush. That literally became like my lipstick brush. And then this is another eyeshadow brush. When I had more eyeshadows, these definitely got a lot more use, especially when I had a lot more shimmers and like a lot more creams and stuff like that. Since my project panning days, I don't have much eyeshadow left, and since my no-buy days, nothing new has come in. These brushes don't serve much function anymore. I have considered decluttering them, but sometimes I go through phases. I don't think it's smart and minimalistic to declutter something only to go out and buy something else. That's not sustainable, so I'm still just gonna hang on to them. Okay, and the last 2 brushes that I have. So this brush is it was a gifted piece from Merit. It came with their Minimalist set. It's very soft, very nice. It's very tightly packed, so I find sometimes I don't like to use it only because when it comes time to clean it, it takes forever to dry. I don't know, comment down below if you guys have had this issue with this one. It's probably the highest grade brush that I have. The capsule is metal, whereas my other ones are just plastic or wood. This has like some very good weight to it. It's very high grade, very beautiful. I love it a lot. The insignia is at the bottom. My most premium brush and my least used brush. I'm not even really sure how to use it, to be honest. I know that it's supposed to be used for either like blending out your makeup or either contouring, but I just, as I mentioned, this angulation I would consider too flat for my contour. I need more of an angle, as you guys can see. And then for applying my creamer or like my foundation, I have cushions that do that, so this just has like, it's like a dead function, but it's so beautiful and I love it, and I just like the aesthetic of it, so I hang on to it. Maybe one day I'll need it. And the very last brush that I have is this Milani brow brush. It's the dual end. As a minimalist, I love that. I used to have 2 separate brushes, but once I bought this, I was like, goodbye those, and I just keep this. This has broken several times and I have just glued it back together just because the brow brush spoolie is just the perfect shape for my brow. So my brows, as you guys can see, is slightly on the thicker side and slightly on the longer side. I have a fair amount of hair that I need to take care of, so this brush angle does the trick. If the spoolie is too small, it's too much combing and I don't like that. And the angulation of this brush is very sturdy. It doesn't, you know what, sometimes you like, it might bend and then it smears the product everywhere. A brow needs to be clean and sharp, and this does not bend. The strength behind this, it is really strong and very precise. I highly recommend it. If you like a fierce brow, if you're still into the thick brow trend, I highly recommend the Milani. It comes in a set. It also comes with like a pot, so those 2 are my fierce brow. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that I gave you inspo. Maybe you're thinking of decluttering your brushes or curating your collection, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.